The Toronto Entrepreneurs Association, or TEA for short, was inspired by the idea of E. Joseph Kosman, a former guest of Careers. He believed that the pooled resources of many entrepreneurs would benefit all the parties involved. And he challenged his students to form an association, which they did back in November 1986. To tell us more is the first president of TEA and one of the current members, so stay tuned for Careers. Hello, I'm Peter Wolfl, and welcome to Careers. The name entrepreneur implies risk. Many businesses start up and fail every year. So what could be better than to have some kind of an association where entrepreneurs can get together to share their experiences? The answer is the Toronto Entrepreneurs Association, or TEA for short. And today, to join us, is David Chang, the company's first president and executive director of the association. His current plans include structuring the association's future management until he retires from the directorship to move into a career in exporting. And also joining us is Kevin Oates, a member of the Toronto Entrepreneurs Association. And once a maintenance mechanic, he now markets a floor air register that regulates heat in homes automatically. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
David, starting with you, maybe you can let us know a little bit about how you got involved with the Toronto Entrepreneurs Association.
Certainly. Well, in 1980, when I completed high school, I was more and more interested in the lifestyle of the entrepreneur. I was somewhat disenchanted with the thought of going into the corporate world and climbing the ladder in the office politics, which goes with that. And the entrepreneur's independence and the control over their own destiny intrigued me. So I started to take seminars along the lines of getting into your own business and marketing products and services. And I started my first venture in 1980. And along the way, I took a course in 1982, sponsored by the Canadian Institute of Management. It's the E. Joseph Kosman course on how to start your own small business. Right? And I was turned on by that course. It did a lot for me. And the thought of getting together with other entrepreneurs was very appealing to me.
Right.
And there was a club which started at that time, which...
Sorry, was this the home study course? Because I know he has a couple of different versions. We had him as a guest before.
Right. No, this was the live seminar. In fact, I think this was the first one that the Canadian Institute of Management sponsored in Toronto.
Right, okay.
And at that time, I don't think there was a home study course available. So the course inspired me, let's say, and I wanted to be around other people like myself. And not finding that available frustrated me to some extent. Mm-hmm. And along the way, I was offered the opportunity to volunteer at a future session, which was 1985, I guess. And I met the executive director of the Canadian Institute of Management, and I was introduced to Joe Kosman. And because of that meeting, I became friends with the executive director. And I vented my frustrations as far as being alone on my own, and I find that a lot of people who are in their own business do have this sense of loneliness, being out in their own battle in the world and trying to fight all the doomsayers, let's say.
Right.
And through that, she encouraged me to join a group of volunteers who would come from the November 1986 course to start a club for entrepreneurs.
That was the same course that you took?
I took the course 3 times, I guess, to that point.
Oh, I see, right.
1986 was the 3rd time that I took it.
So you knew some of the other people from that course?
I met the other people who got involved. There were 10 people in the original group of directors. And I met the other people that very weekend that the course took place. So we got together
Who
about
selected the 10 people?
no one did. Basically, the people who had the initiative to come forward.
Mm-hmm.
And-
Volunteer.
Yeah, volunteered their time. This was all a volunteer effort. And it was a joint commitment by everyone to do something about the fact that there was a void missing in all our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that commitment came from. And I guess if we started off as a private company where there was a lot of vested interests involved, it probably would not have got off the ground. That sense of community would not have been there. Although it's an entrepreneurs association, the fact that the money was filtered all towards the program didn't really say that it was an entrepreneurs association.
Okay, well, how did the association get off the ground? I mean, this is an entrepreneurs association, so I think, and this is a very entrepreneurial activity, trying to get a
Absolutely.
company like this going.
Absolutely.
And it's a non-profit organization as well, right?
That's right. That's right.
And that must have cost you some money to register it and get lawyers, etc. Where did you get the funds, and how did you get it organized?
Well, we had almost $1,000 in funding from the attendance at the seminar. The idea was put forward, and the only way to get it off the ground was to have something to work with to set up an initial meeting to start a membership drive. And from that, we organized a meeting which started the association in late November of 1986. And the idea was well received. It was obvious that a lot of people had the same void. And it gave us a nest egg to work with, and we decided to use it to put together a first-rate program. And I guess we hit a chord, and it really worked. And
So initially all the members were former Kosman course
initially,
takers.
the vast majority were former Kosman
Right.
students.
Right.
And since that time, of course, we've expanded tremendously. And
How many members do you have today?
it fluctuates from month to month as we run on a 12-month membership.
Mm-hmm.
But we tend to settle in at 400, give or take 50 for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot more entrepreneurs out there, so take some advice and join this association. In fact, how much does it cost to join?
For the first year, it's $100, which includes a $20 initiation fee, which isn't
So that's pretty cheap.
Yes, it's very cheap for what
Yeah.
they receive. The whole point of the association was to give people an affordable avenue to get into a support group, which could give them a forum to get together regularly with people who were like themselves, who wanted to find people who could give them some positive support, who they could share their ideas with, and say it openly without fearing that people would get down on them and tell them that they couldn't make it, because that's what you run into.
Well, just by networking with other entrepreneurs, I'm sure you're constantly going to be learning something new
Absolutely.
that you can use in your own business.
Absolutely. Networking has always been the focus of the association. We have 3 mandates, really: networking through as a contact base for all its members, and also for education, and we do that via seminars and speakers and support groups, and also motivation, which also comes through the speakers, the fact that we find people who deal with the motivations of entrepreneurs, and also the fact that you're with other people who are supportive and very positive about your lifestyle is very important to all of us. It's a real community thing. It's a sense of family about the association.
Well, I imagine there's no limit to what you could do with such an association. Who knows, maybe there'll be insurance rates next or something for entrepreneurs, or a pension.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Absolutely.
Kevin, your turn. Maybe let us know about how the association has helped you.
Well, as David said, it's like a family when you go down there. There's someone there to share the enthusiasm and the excitement you have when you've succeeded, or it's someone there to lean on if you have a failure or stumble over something. I know different meetings I've been to where people come up, and it's made me feel good that I've been through the ropes and someone's been able to come to me and say, well, how do I do this, or what can I do this, or who can I talk to about this? Because I know when I first joined, there was some people there that I could go to and say, well, I'm having a problem with this. Where would I go? Who would I go to? And it gave me someone to turn to for support, a chance to feel that I wasn't on my own, even though I was. Someone to that didn't want to take the shirt off your back to pay me to do this for you, and I'll show you how to do it. There was someone there to say, here's how you do it, and give me the helping hand to move along in my adventure. And
How long have you been involved with the association?
since its conception in '86, I joined when they first formed the group, and got involved in some of the meetings to hear their speakers and learn from the different speakers they've had, different seminars they've given, and found it very beneficial, not only for the support but for the educational aspect of where to turn, how to do things.
Did you become an entrepreneur as a result of this association, or were you one already before?
I was one already. It started when I was 19. I had my first business and made an effort at it, and it didn't work out. But the idea is to keep being an entrepreneur. You keep trying, get back on your feet, and try again.
No fears.
Well,
No apprehensions, to keep on trying.
you keep on trying. It's like people don't know that Abraham Lincoln had 5 businesses before he became, and they all failed before he became president of the United States. It's the only real failure is if you fail to try again.
Right, right. And if you fail to learn from your mistakes.
Exactly.
Okay. Your current company, how did you start that up?
I was a maintenance mechanic, as you said before, and I left one company to go to where I thought was a better job. It was with an electronics firm, and thought, well, here it is, it's great, my stepping stone to success. I got there, and within a matter of weeks, I discovered that it wasn't any different. It was nicer and maybe a better place to work, but it wasn't any different. There wasn't the spark, the interest to keep me going. So shortly after that, I decided, well, this wasn't for me, and I left, and I looked around, took some time off and looked around, and I decided to go back to my grassroots, which was in construction when I was younger, and I started my own business doing framing of housing. And in that turn, my brother was working for an inventor who built machinery, and so he came to me with the product I now have licensed the rights for, Oates Air, an automatic heat register, and said to me, you've done sales, you're in the construction field, what do you think of this? Here's an opportunity for you to make some extra money selling this product. And I got thinking about it and looking at it, and I picked up the product, and I went to a couple of hardware chains and stores and said, what do you think of this? And which was instrumental to me getting into it.
Which product was this?
This was Oates Air,
Right.
my heat register, and we took it to a hardware store, and he said, this is great, you should be introducing us to our head office. And from there I went back to the original inventor and said, look, I think I can sell this for you.
Okay, on that note about selling it, we have to take a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Careers in just a moment. Hi, welcome back to Careers. We're joined today by David Chang, Executive Director of the Toronto Entrepreneurs Association, and by Kevin Oates, a current member. Kevin, you were telling us about how you started marketing your product. But even before you get on to that, let me know about why did you end up getting the rights to the product for its marketing, as opposed to, let's say, why didn't the inventor decide to do it himself?
At the time the inventor originally developed this product, it wasn't the time for it to be on the market, and he tried, and he, being like other inventors, very creative, very intelligent man, but maybe not as much marketing, sales orientated as some of us were. And I went to him and said, I would like to sell this. I think I can do well. Would you be interested? And at this time, he had been developing other machinery, etc., and was off on another venture. So I asked him, would he be interested in licensing the registered product to myself and my company? And it worked out that we came to a comparable agreement that was acceptable to both of us. I was able to set up a royalty scheme with him where he collected some money through the sales and pick up some other product from him and buy the existing equipment out from him. He wasn't interested in getting the manufacturing because he'd been that route and it wasn't successful for him, mainly because of the timing for the product. It was in the early 80s when there was a crunch on any new business. Turning out now, it's a good time for the product to be on the market. We're getting great response through.
Okay, before you go too far, the inventor gave you a prototype?
He had actual product made.
Oh, he did?
And
already in inventory of them?
Already in inventory of them. I bought out stock of the inventory and was able to buy the existing tooling for it to manufacture the register after I sold off the existing inventory. I was able to set up with a subcontractor to manufacture it for me, who supplied orders to us, and then eventually went on to license a company in the States for the U.S., which we're talking to now.
Is the product patented?
Yes, it holds one Canadian patent and 2 U.S. patents.
Oh, good.
It's well protected and is well designed. It has great advantages over other registers on the market. To the fact that it's automatic and can balance out the system, improving the comfort and the savings on a heat reg over other heat registers where they just fill a hole, don't do anything for you. This will improve your comfort from room to room, plus also by making it more your heating system run more efficiently, improve the energy savings throughout your heating and air conditioning system.
Mm-hmm. What kind of problems did you find you had when you were starting up? How about financing?
Well, financing, my father and I were able to raise some money. I did a little creative financing through a home that I owned. I felt committed enough to it that I decided to sell my home and invest the money in the business. I rented it back off the people, and a year later was able to purchase it back off of them. It's something you decide to do, and as an entrepreneur, you take that risk to.
It's a tremendous risk.
But I felt at my age, and
how old were you then?
28,
mm-hmm.
And I felt at my age, if I don't take the chance now, who knows where I'll be 10 years from now. It's a house.
Yeah, that's right.
My mother has a philosophy, my parents have a philosophy that you can't go up and peel $20 bills off the wall. And with the equity sitting there, I couldn't start my business. So I took the gamble, sold the house, and put it into the business.
Congratulations. David, how is TEA structured?
Well, TEA is a nonprofit volunteer group, and we function at this reasonable cost to our membership simply by the fact that volunteers organize the programs. And volunteers come forward from the membership because there's a lot to learn from participating in an enterprise like this. You actually learn by doing a lot of the aspects of business which you have to do when you get into your own business. And the program is centered around TEA going out and finding people with professional expertise in a particular area of business which would be of interest to the membership. We hold monthly meetings, we hold seminars, we hold support group meetings, and we publish a regular newsletter along with that.
So you have a number of different committees.
Yes, absolutely.
And what basically do they do?
Well, for example, we have a speakers committee to go out and find speakers that would be appropriate for our membership. Have a newsletter committee, which I participate on, and we take the material which comes in from the speakers committee, from the foreign trade club, from the marketing club, any of the other members who bring forward information which is of interest to entrepreneurs. We gather that together and publish a newsletter. The desktop publishers who do our newsletter were original members. They came forward and said, hey, we're starting a business in desktop publishing. Would you be interested? And many other.
You had Frank Stronach as one of your speakers.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Frank is the kind of entrepreneur which is a kind of person that we aspire to be. He has started from meager beginnings, and he had a great concept, a great vision, and he followed through, and he was committed. And that's what you are when you're an entrepreneur. You have a vision, you are committed to it, and no matter what, you want to see that come true to fruition. And that's what it's all about, the challenge and the love
Magna
of it.
International is pretty large now.
It's pretty large now. And he's always been one of my role models, personally. And 3 years ago, I never thought I would be meeting the man, but through the association I did as and the speakers committee director, I mean, he was excited about Frank Stronach because, you know, he used the association to get in there, and he made the contact and benefited all of us.
If you can continue to get good speakers, I'm sure that will attract more members to the association as well.
Oh, by all means. We've been fortunate that the way that we are structured, the quality of what we are trying to do appeals to many people. And many of the professionals out there have been in our shoes. And therefore that identification gives them something to work with. They feel good about giving back to the community. And we, of course, appreciate the fact that, you know, someone who has gone ahead of us is coming back and saying, hey, let me extend a helping hand to you. That's great.
Kevin, how well is your company doing now?
We ran into a little bit of problems. We, as all entrepreneurs do, we have had to make another commitment and set up to do our own manufacturing. In the beginning, we were setting up to be strictly a marketing group. We had a subcontractor who ran out of money in the midterm, got into other projects, and left us hanging in the lurch. We made a commitment to, as an entrepreneur, to stick with this project, raise some more funds, and decide to set up our own manufacturing of the register. We're setting up now to do the assembly. We subcontract stamping out to other companies, and we are supplying people like Beaver Lumber and other hardware chains to sell a register to the retail market. I think by the end of this year we should be back on our feet and doing quite well.
How do you manage to get distribution of your product?
Mainly through as I said, the major retail chains and people such as Carrier Air Conditioning to carry the product and go out and sell it. We deliver it right to their distribution centers, and they sell it. Beaver Lumber's distribution center, and they send it out to the stores. They order freight from them. It saves us having to run from store to store, making deliveries of 1 and 2s or 10s or whatever the store feels they can sell in a month.
That's right. What kind of advice would you give other people interested in maybe becoming an entrepreneur?
Never to give up. You quit before you start, and then you don't know if you'll ever make it. I found that some days you wonder, well, is today the day I'm going to quit, or today the day I'm going to make it? I found that by just getting out there every day and doing something helps to feel that you're succeeding.
Do you think that being an entrepreneur or starting up a company is a full-time effort?
Oh, yes. Yes, it is.
Because a lot of people want to start it by doing it on the side while they're working for some other
You can
employer.
do that. It can be done. And with help such as groups like the TEA, it really does help, because I started out from my kitchen table, and in fact my office is still in my home. It makes it easier, being a single father, to be able to be at home for my kids and still running a business. Other people can start it depending on what they get involved with as a business of their own, to get them started on their way. It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's not actually a full-time job as it is a full-time commitment.
And there comes a point, I guess, when you have to make the big decision and leave your steady cash flow.
The steady salary is the big commitment and the big scare, but then you're working that many more hours to hopefully generate the cash to survive. As I said, it doesn't have to be a steady job or full-time job, as long as it's a full-time commitment, that while you're at work you're thinking about what you could be doing to improve this, or to be able to do this. Or
David, what kind of people are most likely to become members of the Toronto Entrepreneurs Association?
Well, I guess the start of the association was to help people who were in a situation that they were not happy with, bridge the gap so that they could get into their own enterprise. And today that's still the most likely person to come into the association.
Are most of them already entrepreneurs by the time they join? Or do you end up encouraging some non-entrepreneurs to finally choose that route?
I would say we happen to help a lot of people make a decision whether an entrepreneur lifestyle is for them or not. A lot of the people who do come in are seeking something new, and that's one of the avenues that they want to investigate, and certainly some do join at the time which they're starting to think about it seriously, and the association helps them to make that decision.
Are there any other success stories for which you think TEA can claim some credit?
Well, we don't really think that we should claim credit for what they do, because it's certainly their initiative and their commitment which makes it for them. But we're only 2 years young, and yet there are stories coming out of people about people who are doing things that are pretty spectacular, and some of them are probably going to be very, very wealthy.
What are some of the plans for the association?
The association would like to become the voice for entrepreneurs in the metro community. Certainly we've had a good start for that, and what we would like to do is become the organization that fills a void whereby there was no organization for grassroots entrepreneurs prior to this, and this is where we fit in.
Are there other associations of this type in other parts of the country?
There is no general type of association like this. It really depends on the people who are involved as far as the size and the professionalism of the association actually is. And we've found that because we have committed from the very start to be a first-rate organization, people have received us well. And that's why we've grown to the size that we have.
Kevin, what are your company's future plans?
One, to keep marketing the register. We are looking at other products to get involved with, to keep developing our skills through being a member in the Toronto Entrepreneurs Association and learning as we go. Each day is a learning experience. We find more and more things that we can either stumble over or pick up and move along with. As you said before, it's a learning curve, and
Sure is. And on that note, gentlemen, I'm afraid our time is up. Thank you for joining us on Careers.
Thank you, Peter.
I'm Peter Wolfl, and from all of us here at the studio, good luck in your own career.